When Balaam arrived in Moab, King Balak said, "What took you so long? I said I'd make you a rich man. Didn't you believe me?" Balaam said, "I'm here now, but understand. I can only say what God tells me to say." So Balak took Balaam onto a high cliff, overlooking the entire camp of Israel. Balaam had the king build altars to the Lord, and they sacrificed to him. Balaam told the king to stay there while he went higher up the mountain to see what God wanted him to say. God gave him a message. So he went back to where King Balak and the elders of Moab were waiting. Balaam looked out over the people and said, "King Balak sent for me. He said, 'Come and curse Jacob. Come and denounce Israel.' But how can I curse those who God doesn't curse? How can I denounce those who God doesn't denounce? I stand on these cliffs and look out over these people. There is no other nation like them. Oh, that I had a privilege of dying like these righteous people die." King Balak was shocked. He said, "I brought you here to curse these people, not to bless them." Balaam said, "I made it clear. I can only say what God tells me to say." Balak said, "Come with me to a different spot. From there you will only see part of the people. Maybe you'll be able to curse them." They went to the second spot, and again they built altars and scarified to the Lord. Balaam told the king, "Stay here while I go talk to God." The Lord met with Balaam and gave him words to say. He went back and said, "Oh, King Balak, listen carefully to what I am about to say. God isn't like people. He doesn't change his mind. He told me to bless the people because the Lord lives among them. He's their king, and they're happy about that. He brought them out of Egypt with a mighty hand. So there isn't a curse for them. They'll be known for the great things God has done for them." The king said, "If you can't curse them, at least stop giving them a blessing." Again King Balak took Balaam to another place so he could see the people. He said, "Try one more time and see if there is a curse for these people from here." Balaam once again had an altar built and they sacrificed to the Lord. But he didn't go up the mountain. As he looked across the valley, the Spirit of God came upon him. "Oh, the tents of Israel are beautiful. They're like a garden that has been planted by God. Whoever blesses these people will be blessed. Whoever curses these people will be cursed." Balak was furious. He said, "I've brought you here to curse these people. I would have made you rich, but the Lord robbed you of those riches. Now go home." Balaam said, "I have one more message. Someone is coming. I can't see who it is. He is like a heavenly star. He'll be the king of Israel. He'll have victory over all of his enemies." With that, Balaam left, and King Balak went back to his place. Later, Balaam went to the king and said, "I can't curse these people, but you can cause God to curse them." And he gave him a plan. Shortly after that, the women of Moab went down to the camp of Israel. They had sex with the men, and then invited them to a festival for their idols. The men went, and soon they were worshipping the idols. God was furious. He sent a plague and 24,000 people died. One of the Israelites brought a Midianite woman to his family tent. They walked right past Moses and the elders of Israel. The son of the high priest took a spear and went into the tent. He thrust the spear through them both, killing them on the spot. With that, God stopped the plague. The Lord then told Moses, "Take your army. Go, kill the Moabites and the Midianites because of what they have done." The Israeli army went out and defeated both nations. Among the dead was the body of Balaam because of the advice he had given Balak. The Israelites camped in the valley of Moab, next to the Jordan River across from Jericho. The king of Moab was a man named Balak. He was terrified when he saw the great mass of people in his valley. He had heard what they'd done to other kings. He said to the Midianites, "These people are more powerful than us. I'm afraid they'll totally destroy us." Together, the two nations decided to send for Balaam, a prophet who lived in the east next to the Euphrates River. They sent gifts with a message, "Come quickly. A huge mass of people has come out of Egypt, and they're now in our valley. They're stronger than us, so we want you to curse them so we can defeat them and send them away. We know you're a prophet, and whoever you curse is cursed, and whoever you bless is blessed." Balaam said, "Stay the night. In the morning, I'll tell you what God told me to do." During the night, God said to Balaam, "Who are these men staying with you?" "They're from the king of Moab. He says there are a large mass of people come out of Egypt, and he wants me to go and curse them." The Lord said, "No, you're not to go with them. You're not to curse those people, because they're blessed." The next morning, Balaam told the delegation, "Go back to your king. The Lord won't let me go with you." The delegation went back and gave Balak this message. The king then sent a delegation of more important people. Through them he said, "Don't let anything stop you from coming to me. If you'll curse these people, I'll make you a rich man." Balaam said, "If the king filled my house with gold, I can only say what the Lord tells me to say. Still, stay the night. I'll see if the Lord says something different." That night, the Lord said to Balaam, "Since these men have come to you a second time, you may go with them. But, be careful. Only say what I tell you to say." So the next morning, Balaam saddled his donkey, took his 2 servants, and started on his journey to Moab. As he traveled along, the angel of the Lord stood in his path with a sword in his hand. The donkey looked up and saw the angel, so she turned and went into a field. Balaam beat her until she got back on the path. The angel went down the path and stood at a place where there was a wall on both sides. The donkey looked up and saw the angel with his sword drawn. She pushed up against the wall, trapping Balaam's foot. He beat her again. The angel went down the path, but this time he stood in a place where there was no room on either side. The donkey looked up and saw the angel, so she crouched down beneath Balaam. Balaam flew into a rage. He took a stick and started beating his donkey. With that, God allowed the donkey to talk. She said, "Why have you beaten me 3 times?" Balaam yelled at her, "Because you've made me look like a fool. If this was a sword instead of a stick, I'd kill you right here on the spot." The donkey said, "Haven't I served you ever? Since you were born? Have I ever done this?" before? Balaam said, No, you never have. Suddenly, his eyes were opened and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the path with his sword drawn. Balaam bowed down before him. The angel said, You have beaten your donkey 3 times. Yet, if it hadn't been for her, I would have killed you and let her live. Balaam said, If you don't want me to go to Moab, I'll turn around and go home. The angel said, No, you may go. But be careful. Only say the words I give you to say. And with that, Balaam went on to Moab.